That's why I'm going to let you guys do all the talking.
We're an hour early. Sorry, Jason.
Yeah. So welcome, guys. Thanks for doing the show. And want to welcome you guys to whatever little audience we have so far, which doesn't exist yet. But these are the guys from Blok4. And Mike, why don't you give everyone a little bit of a short introduction and then give an overview of the company. And then we'll kind of dive in and ask everyone some questions about what you guys do.
Right on. Absolutely. My name is Mike Sulprizio, and I'm one of the partners here at Blok4. Blok4 is basically a specialty display company. We do one-to-one statues, custom displays. We do prop restoration. We do replicas. You name it, we can do it. Right here and on camera with us is Kelly Mark. Kelly is the guy that kind of sort of led us down this path. We met Kelly. Saw some of his artwork, thought it was incredible, and decided we had to know him. So we met Kelly. He introduced us to a whole new world. And basically, Kelly's sort of our main artist, the guy that gives us the last looks, and really important guy to what we're doing. Roger and I met about 5 or 6 years ago. I was running another company, and he came in and he just brought a mentality with him that was incredible. So Roger's a design guy, taught himself a ton of stuff, had his own skateboard company, among other things, snowboard, and just brings a lot of technology and kind of work ethic mentality to our company. That's just unparalleled. And then Heath, I also met about 5 or 6 years ago from my last company that I worked with. Heath's one of the most incredible painters I've ever met. But he's also got a ton of experience. Started off with doing, well, first of all, he's a Navy guy, which we love. And he kind of brings that mentality to the table for us. But then he's got a ton of experience working in like the miniature world, helped get Sideshow miniatures up off the ground and got them going. Has a ton of experience with international stuff. So when we do any kind of overseas manufacturing, with Heath's experience, we know we got somebody for quality control there. So basically what it allows us to do is anything we want. We can do stuff in the movie industry because we have that experience. We can do incredible, really majestic art pieces, and then we can design something you've never seen before. So kind of a little bit of everything.
Nice. So Kelly, you've been around for a long time.
I've been around.
I heard about you mythically before we ever had a chance to meet.
Mythically. Me and my unicorn ways, yes.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about like your childhood growing up and like how you turned out the way that you did.
Really? We're going down that rocky road.
I didn't even ask about the Batman costume yet. So.
And that rocky road does not include marshmallows and chocolate.
With
Batman, you mean the 89 Batman costume that I ordered from Starlog magazine?
Yes.
Ow. When Batman Fever was lit back in 89 and everybody was on board to get a piece of that.
Yes.
Well, no. I mean, we all grew up with Fangora, Starlog. I mean that was our window to pop culture, right? So I mean, actually, that goes further back than just Batman. With Spider-Man got me in trouble a lot too.
Yes.
But Batman was one of those. You see an ad introducing the deluxe Michael Keaton Batman suit, and you're like, man, that'd be great for a Halloween party to dress up as this thing and get on top of a roof and open up the cape and and all my friends would go ape crazy over what they see. So $350. That's a lot of grass cutting, a lot of gutter cleaning, a lot of car washing to get that suit. I wrote a check from my mom's checkbook.
How old were you at this time?
Send it away. I was 17.
Not as young as you think. Yeah.
17. I knew what I was doing at 17. And you kind of get, focused on wanting that costume. I mean, they make the ad look so pretty and attractive and make you a part of that. So I go ahead and do the deluxe costume, right? Put my check in the mail and waited. Of course, you wait week after week after week. And every time you would hear a UPS truck coming, I would run no, it didn't pass yet. The next day, another UPS truck. So the one day that I wasn't even paying any attention that the UPS truck was around, it showed up. So this humongous box showed up at my doorstep. Fortunately, my mom and my dad were at work. Came home, gasped, saw the box, ran to my bedroom, started, opening it up, throwing this, throwing that, looking at it on the floor. And I'm like, yeah. So put on the suit, put on the belt, put on the gloves, put on the spats, put on the cape, put on the cowl. I looked at myself in the mirror and I'm like, I look like a black Michelin man.
Oh no.
And I'm like, this is not going to fly. The ears were like, that was the ears. And my face was like really like smushed because of the mask. I was about to cut the back to reduce some of the stress. And I, of course, looking at it, I'm like, how can I upgrade this thing to make it look better than what it was? Nah, it was hopeless. So anyway, I'm out $350. So of course, my mom comes home. She sees the box and she's like, what did you do? She goes, okay. So she, my mom, clever woman, gets on the horn with Starlog magazine, called them up, said, hi, my son ordered a Batman 89 costume from you guys for $350. Is there any way to get a refund? And of course, they were like, no, there's no refund. Well, my son is autistic. She used the autistic card. So we got the $350 back. The costume went. Anyway, I'm like, what? I'm costumeless for that year. So what am I going to do? So of course I go back to Starlog magazine. I'm like flipping. Of course, there's another Batman image, and I turn the page. But then I see Michael Keaton dressed as Beetlejuice, and I'm like, huh, I'll do Beetlejuice. So I made a Beetlejuice costume, went to the party, won first place.
Nice.
And I was the juice all night long. Yeah. So anyway, that's my Batman story.
Yeah. So did that contribute to you getting into this world of taking sort of problematic costumes?
Exactly. When I saw the Batman costume as a kid, I knew this goes further back to RoboCop before Batman. And you start looking at all the details and how they approach this. And I'm like, I could have made that. I could have made this. And then I started experimenting with lycras and spandexes and rubbers and, just trying to refine and make my own Batman costume. But it was interesting because, a lot of the kids today, they're so inspired by the next new movie coming out, right? And cosplay is such a big thing now. It's such an enterprise with cosplay. So with the Batman, it kind of went, and then I was turned on to the Flash because the Flash TV show came out in 1990. And I kind of like, forget about Batman. I'm going to take all that knowledge that I learned from Batman and roll it over into the Flash, which that was really cool. I had a great time making that suit. I never forget wearing it for Halloween in 1990. And the girl that was with me, she looked at me. She's like, "You look like a chicken." She didn't get it. She didn't get it. I'm like, a chicken
Neither
with
did you
a
that
lightning
night,
bolt
but-
on my chest. I'll show you what a chicken's like later. So anyway, it went from, the Flash, and then I did the Rocketeer when the Rocketeer came out in 91. And then I went down the crazy road of started doing Boba Fett, which there was hardly anything out of there of Boba Fett to cosplay as Boba Fett. Anyway, so my whole career started off as a kid, wearing a towel around the neck and, paper masks and running around the neighborhood pretending to be Robin or Spider-Man or whatever. So that's where that all came from. Now, how did I get involved in this? Well, high school, of course, going to high school. And I think Freddy Krueger I started making money with Freddy Krueger. I would do the glove. I want a glove. I can make you one. So I was making Freddy Krueger gloves throughout high school to buy my first car. So I owe a lot to that crazy kooky guy. And then that started the prop making for me. And basically, there's more stories to that, Jason, believe it or not.
Yeah,
but,
I know. I've heard some of them.
Rush forward. This is where I am today. So back in the day, it's all the cosplaying that I've done as a kid and Freddy Krueger glove, and then it exploded from there.
Yeah. So what do you most enjoy about working at
here? Oh, because we all like the same music for one. It's like, we go from ABBA to Boston to John Denver
K-pop.
to Elvis. I mean, we're all over the map.
Yeah.
Don't forget some K-pop.
Never gets old.
A little bit
A little bit of K-pop.
Show tunes, So yeah, but no, here it's everybody gets in their zone, knows their job, knows their skill, and then knocks it out of the park. And we all meet in the middle and create this beautiful work of art in the end.
Yeah. How much of what you guys do is like collaborative, where
all of it,
all sort of
all
putting
of it.
all your talent into it?
Yeah, we all put our 2 cents in on anything, because we all look at it from different perspectives, and that's the beauty in the art of coming at it from a different angle. So I kind of I can remove myself as an artist and look at it as a fan,
Right.
and that benefits in the end.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and I
So-
feel like
Yeah, that's for
I
sure.
feel like when we met Kelly, what he did spoke for itself. So it wasn't like we needed, oh gosh, we got to teach you this. It wasn't that at all. It was, hey man, how do we take what you're doing and add our skill sets to that to make something even better? Because that was a challenge, to be frank, because what Kelly was doing was incredible. I remember when I came in and I saw the first Harley Quinn, the bust of the Harley Quinn that I saw, and I was just blown away. And then together we made a better one, So
it's
been great.
Amplification. The art, with me alone, it's great, but with a group, it's amplified. So it becomes something other than what it used to be.
Our latest
and
creation.
it speaks for itself. Yeah.
Yeah. Our latest creation, the tribute statue we did for the Jason, the Friday the 13th, part 7, that's sort of a perfect example of that, because again, it's Kelly's, part of Kelly's vision, Kelly's concepts, and then taking things that Roger brings to the table in design, and then paint skills with Heath, and, my ability to talk to people, and everybody kind of comes together. And that's kind of my favorite part of all this, is that, it is a team effort. And while there's certain things we can each do by ourselves, in order to make a statue look like we just made, it is the whole team comes in.
Nice. So Heath, how did you get into this crazy world?
Wow.
Heath, we're doing an interview.
I know.
I'm talking those hardball questions.
Yeah, really, man. I'm just thinking how far. I've always been painting miniatures. My mom was an animation artist, but I didn't want to do art. I just wanted to just paint figures and have just D&D and stuff like that. I wanted to be a fighter pilot. So, but my mom being the artist, she was like, nope, I'm only paying for art school, but I want to I need a 4-year degree with something outside of art. So she says, I'll only pay for art center. So I was like, wow, okay, well, and then I'll do it myself. I joined the Navy and then quickly realized my math skills suck. So, and through that, I became a combat rescue swimmer, and I was part of a very exclusive squadron that did some cool stuff. And then about 12 years later, I got my degree in history, and I realized that I didn't want to be an officer. I liked the pipeline that it was in. But then a friend of mine was working on a movie called Deep Rising over at DreamQuest, and at that point, I was looking at going into the SEAL teams. Thinking, what am I going to do? I'm 27. What am I? Where does it take me? And I was always doing art. He said, hey, I know you got some art skills and stuff. You want to come over and help me? Let's do this. And I said, sure. I'm in between things right now. Well, I started painting big models, and I was like, holy smokes, man, this is awesome. And the pay was really good. And at that time, I just thought, you know what? Maybe it's time to get out. So right there, I got out. I didn't renew my contract, and I started working in the movie industry. Mind you, I went back to my mom. I said, Mom, man, I'm really getting into this art. Things are taking off. How about that? Maybe going to art center. And she said, Heathy, that boat sailed a long time ago.
You're a Navy guy.
Yeah, she said, you paid for your own school, man. Carry on. So through that, I was, just like a gypsy, just learning as much as I could, and faux finish, bigger miniatures, effects, working on Con Air and then Armageddon, things like that. But then in 2000, a good buddy of mine, he was working over at Sideshow, Tom Gilliland, and he said, hey, man, why don't you come over and check this stuff out? What's going on over here? And I was like, yeah. And at that time, I did a lot of stuff in the 6-scale world, painting 6-scale miniatures. So I started working over at Sideshow, and then I helped develop the 6-scale program, the quarter-scale program, the half-scale program, all the while developing and building my figure artist skills, along with project management and then overseas manufacturing. And in the end, after running the department and then doing overseas manufacturing, being a project manager, going to China and teaching how to do the paint jobs, like on the Lord of the Rings stuff and things of that nature. After being there for 12 years, moved on. Then I worked at Novos doing Star Wars costumes, and I was there for about 6 years, and that took me in a different direction. It kind of got me back into, the movie stuff. And then that's when I bumped back into Mike, because in Novos, we shared a space with Global Effects at the time. And so Mike and I, we were just like, hey, man, how about we, do this? We got some things going. And then I left there, and then I came and started working over at Global Effects, and that's where I met Roger. And we just kind of gelled and clicked. And then, it was just a conversation saying, hey, man, why don't we start something? Why don't we get this rolling? All the while, I met Kelly back in 2005 at Sideshow at Comic-Con. So there's Kelly in the back. And then we kind of talked a little bit, and then we lost contact with each other. And then about 2.5 years ago, just before we started Blok4, we bumped into each other, and I was like, hey, dude, what's going on? And then we were like, hey, man, yeah. And it kind of kicked. So then I introduced Kelly to Mike and Roger, and I said, dude, this guy's, he's got some, great stuff. We wanted to, expand into the movie industry, doing specialty costumes and prop building, because that's what we're doing. We built spacesuits, we've done, helmets, we've done nothing real creature wise, because there's enough thing that, but it was a lot of like spacesuits and armor and, various different things, mechanical gadgets, things like that. So when I introduced Kelly about what he's doing for the 1-to-1 statues, and I said, this is a great avenue. We need to explore that, because as we, we're going to need other, revenue streams. And then we were like, yeah, let's do it. And then the strike hit. And then we were like, well, there's no movie work. So we started expanding and hitting this world really hard. I think that about does it.
Cool. And then Roger, what about you? How did you get started?
I got started like growing up. I was always making things, or at least taking things apart and not putting them back together. So I kind of started with all that. I come from a family. My father was an engineer, designed cameras for the movie industry for a long time. So that kind of was my connection with the movie industry. I met Mike about 6 years ago and started working with him. And over the years, we've done a lot of things for museums, for private clients, and really high quality replicas of things that are out there. Most of them utilizing a lot of different processes. And so I think with my background and the things that I like doing for Blok4 are, creating a space and an environment for people to be productive and creative. And I kind of balance my time between the two, either creating things, the pieces of art and helping with that. And then the shop space is what I really like doing. But, I think some of the things that I've had to learn over the years with my computer background is, sculpting. I use SolidWorks and Fusion 360 to 3D print and get all these things done. So I'm pretty much a tool guy. I love tools, and so I'm always purchasing new things and learning how to use them. That's kind of what I like to do.
Not to be confused as a tool, but a tool guy.
Yeah, use me, please.
That's my job. No, but just to add, like that's, for me, that's with Roger, that's, it reminds me of my dad that way. If he doesn't know something, he will do whatever research it takes and teach himself, at least to be the ability to understand it. And I just, with all of these guys, you can't teach what we do. You can teach people skills, you can teach them techniques, but that passion about that Batman suit and Heath's passion for, what he did and Roger's desire to just keep learning, like I can't teach anybody that. So that's why I'm grabbing onto these guys and I'm not letting go, because it's like, I can't do that either. I can't do what any of them do. My job is just to talk about it. And it's so easy when I get to talk about guys that are really good, I don't have to make excuses. So I love it. This is why this is working for me.
Yeah. So Mike, what's your background? How did you get into this?
Oh, Lordy. So my background is my father worked in the entertainment industry. So I always looked at the entertainment industry as a job and not something so shiny and cool. But like Kelly, I was into the toys. I was into the superheroes and I didn't buy stuff from the magazine. I just made it with stuff that I had. And so it would look horrible. I mean, horrible. But then I started to make movies. So my dad brought me a little black and white video camera before anybody really had access to them because of where he worked. And then he had the guys at the studio make me a really long cord for my camera. So I literally could go outside, and we had a pool I was able to use. So I started making movies with my action figures, both Star Wars or my little 8-inch superheroes. And that kind of got that going for me. And I also did a lot of theater as a kid. So I was constantly making costumes and characters. And then after college, I was going to go to law school and decided against that because it was just not my passion. So I came back to LA and started doing a show that ran for like 9 or 10 months at the Odyssey Theater in LA. And it kind of inspired me that this could be something. So started a theater company with a guy that I had met. And for the last 30 years, we've been doing that. But, I found myself out of a job after I worked in commercial production for a while and saw an ad for a prop shop, running a prop shop and costume shop. So I took it and got there and realized that between my connections and my ability to talk to people, that this could be something. My only issue was that, I wasn't the owner. And so I had to kind of be under someone who was, when it came to making stuff, was a genius. But personality wise, like it just was really difficult. So my job became, stepping in front of those things instead of actually creating stuff. So when I met Heath and Roger, we talked about that we were going to basically make a company where we weren't getting in each other's way. We were only making things easier, helping each other, supporting and figuring stuff out instead of squashing, So for me, when I saw that, I said, let's do this. Now, well, we were ultimately we were gonna buy the company we were working for, and it didn't work out. And so we kind of found ourselves flailing a little bit. We thought we were going to have a space. We thought we were going to have inventory. We thought we had a business plan ready to go. So, I was freaking out, well, that's when we met Kelly. When I say Heath introduced us, to Kelly, and it just changed my perspective. I'm like, wait a minute, there's people that will buy these things and, they'll spend good money on them. Well, that led us to meeting you, Jason, where, you were working and you had, gave us an opportunity at the time to do something. And what I appreciated was, my thing is I'm a straightforward guy, and I think it does work in what we do. Sometimes it backfires a little, but I'd rather be straightforward. So we started that. And as a result, it kind of led to us doing the first job we did with you, and kind of gave us our confidence that our plan was kind of legit, taking people from these different industries and bringing them all together and doing something different does work and can work. So, and Roger and I talk all the time, which is great. And, one of the things he said to me that I'll never forget is, it's not about being bigger. You got to be better, and then the bigger will come. Yeah. So for me, I'm kind of focused on that. And I feel so fortunate that I'm with these guys, and then some other of our team, and that's just not on camera right now, that just gives me the confidence. And, like, I couldn't ask for a better thing. Like, this is what I was hoping for. And we've had our fits and starts. Don't get me wrong. Like, this is not we're not perfect guys. But I think what we're putting out there is amazing. And so it's exciting. I mean, I love it.
Yeah. It's a very, very niche. But Jason, there's something I wanted to just kind of touch. The essence and the foundation of Blok4 is what Mike said. We're a team. Even though that we're coming from different areas, even the other people that are not on right now, we are a team. And we function as a team, and we have respect for each other. There's no ego. We're always, counseling with each other, talking, saying, hey, what's your thoughts on this? Regardless of the skill level, we're always very respectful and wanting to find out, like, hey, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, and the ego's in the final product, right? Like, so, that's why my job's so easy. Like I keep saying, I just get to talk about it. And when these guys, and again, the rest of the team puts this thing together, it's so damn easy. It's just, and that's because of the passion we all have. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love what we're doing. Like, I mean, I've always wanted to make cool things with my friends. Like, what else does anybody want to do? So yeah, I'm in heaven right now. So
yeah, I mean, all the projects I worked on with you guys, like, if there's a scale of 1 to 10, my expectation was like an 8 or a 9. You guys would deliver like a 20 or a 30. Like, everything you guys did was like,
thank you.
Thank you. You guys just knocked it out of the park. Like, it was just amazing. And you obviously care about what you're doing. You guys always over delivered on, kind of whatever the scope of work
we cherish and respect the content and highly respect it. Yeah. Because
I got to say, that starts with Kelly, guys. Like, that's, we all have that, but in terms of the subject matter, like, Kelly's passion inspires me. And so it makes me want to do better too. And then it's kind of addicting. It's that's not the word I was trying to say, but it just starts to happen and you can't help it.
It definitely gives us the appreciation for the pieces that
we're children, all of us are children of the past, that this entertainment, made us who we are today. And as adults, what back then gave to us, now we're at a stage in our lives to give back to it. So that's what we're doing now, is giving back.
And I've been involved in a lot of different facets of, the entertainment industry, and on the creative side, on the press side, on the dealer side. And it always shows through who grew up with this stuff and loves it versus the people where it's like a business opportunity and it's just about making money. Like, it always just comes through. And that's why I love working with you guys, because you guys are geeks too, and you're into it.
Hey.
I'm a geek. I'm a geek. Fourth in geek, historian first, artist second. I'm a historian first.
If you say fourth.
So. Geek
yeah.
No.
I'm a mouth first, and then everything else after that.
I have some geekiness.
So if people are watching this, and they're not familiar with you guys, like if someone's a collector, what kind of services do you offer to like just the average collector of, let's say, movie props and movie costumes, TV props, TV costumes?
I'll start. I mean, one of the things that I love the most is that the answer to that question is anything and everything. As I've been talking to some of these clients that are buying some of the screen use stuff, one of the things I love to do is throw ideas at them. Maybe they haven't thought of it, but we have this mentality that, look, we're going to talk to people. We're going to talk to them about ideas. We're going to, give them some suggestions. And even if they don't come to us, I don't mind sharing that information. I'm not about like, what we're doing is so unique and different. I mean, some of our techniques, yeah, but what we're doing is out there. There's other companies. So for us, it's about that experience, right? How do we make you feel? How does that, I'm working on relationships. I got a customer that we made the Harley Quinn for, who literally, contacted me on a Saturday night while he was in Japan because he won an item at an auction and he was excited to get a statue made for it. So, that's like the fact that we can have that effect on somebody makes me feel really good. And that's where the ego lies right there, that I know our product's going to have an effect on someone. It's going to be good. So I love it. We can do anything. We can make a display which focuses on the item. And that's sort of our other big thing. We want to display your item to be the hero. So if you come to me with a prop or a costume that was worn by a specific actor, we might recommend, hey, you have a dress that was worn by Marilyn Monroe. So we have an idea to display it wherein, we might have Marilyn Monroe be part of the display and not just on a mannequin. So, we're trying to take things to a whole nother level. And when we talk to the customers, we let them say things, hey, I wish I could have this. Wouldn't it be cool if we could do this or that? And we get to say that, well, the answer is not no. We will certainly see what we can do. And sometimes the technology is not there or the space or all that, but we're certainly enjoy looking at it. But I had a customer recently say to me, I just want to have a thing that I got put on a standard mannequin. How much would you charge me for that? I actually said, I'd rather recommend a mannequin that you buy because, I'm trying to build a relationship. And if I have a guy send me a costume, we make a mannequin for it or, display for it. We now have to break that down and ship it back to him. So when he gets it, he's going to open up a box and put together the mannequin and dress it. I'd rather just tell you where to get the mannequin, because what we're trying to do is make something for you that's going to be a piece in your house forever, or in your office or at your display room, because it becomes a statue, a piece of art. So we're trying to do that, and the answer is we can do whatever you want.
Yeah, when I started collecting costumes, I had the toughest time with mannequins because everything I would buy on eBay or Amazon, it's always way too big, too muscular. It's coming from China, and people in Hollywood just aren't built that way for the most part. They tend to be tiny. So if someone's like a new collector and they're buying costumes, like what would your advice be regarding displays and mannequin?
I always have the conversation about silhouette. And silhouette is a conversation that goes in the costume industry. It goes into theater. It goes everywhere. If you can capture 90% of the silhouette, both underneath the costume and on top of the costume, then you've got it. And that's always the part that I start when I have conversations with the client, and including them and saying, hey, this is, some of the things. Because if you look at the way the fabric falls, if you just throw it on a mannequin, it's not going to fall the same way, like on James Bond. You put him in a suit, that really needs to be tailored, both underneath and on top, because of the way that suit was tailored. So these are the things that having, and such as Jason, if you were the client, we would have that kind of discussion, and it would be a journey. That way, not only are you a part of it, but now you have something to say like, hey, when I had this made, all these considerations were put into it. We just didn't throw it on a mannequin.
Yeah. And just to add to that, that's one of the things that Kelly's so good at is that silhouette. And so when we met him, Kelly was using different techniques to get the mannequin to have the costume lie on the mannequin a specific way that created that proper look. Right. And so one of the things that we now do to kind of help with that, if required, is we can sculpt and 3D print a mannequin that is scanned to fit in that costume. So, that's sort of what we did with Harley, is that we sculpted a Harley Quinn that was the same size and shape as Margot Robbie, enhanced it a little for the customer per their request, and then was able to fit the costume to that. So, we do have techniques to do that. But, Kelly can speak on that a little bit, because we really got the concept from him.
So I got the floor now.
Yeah, you got the conch.
No pressure there. Yeah, just like Heath said, it's about silhouette and how to make your property shine better than what it was supposed to be. Like I said, it's all amplified. We need to make it better, and how it's displayed better for your private collection or in a museum or an exhibit, and all directions that we take along with it. So, we go down this path of, we focus on what the costume is and what it represents, and then everything else around it is just it's a framing. It frames off the thing. We try not to, when we start getting involved, we try to keep away from the waxworks idea and the eyes. A lot of clients want, like, I want eyes of that so-and-so. And I'm like, well, what happens is we gravitate toward the eyes of the statue, then everything else gets lost, because it's like, well, it doesn't look like the person. But what about the costume? But it doesn't look like the person. But what about the costume? It's about their costume. So we try to do this, echo thing with just grayscaling it, and you can see the silhouette of the character in it, and it has body language that's there for it, and your property shines. It's there. When you start getting into the waxworks aspect, it tends to sway away from what you're trying to accomplish. But we do support the waxwork stuff. Don't get me wrong. If the client wants that, we'll go full on and do that, but we'll do it 10 times better than, Chewbacca waiting for a bus.
Jason, something to kind of add to that. When you're looking, like, some people will ask for a silicone head and hands, and we're like, okay. But when you look at a lot of silicone pieces, your subconscious kind of like, there's something weird about that. And that's the uncanny valley, where it looks real, but your mind, your subconscious, it's like, well, no, it's not. It looks creepy. There's something creepy about it. So if you kind of just, one step in front or back, you don't get caught in that uncanny valley. So for us, we kind of, one silicone breaks down and it has a shelf life. So we don't feel confident in using silicone because of that. It's not a superior product. And we don't want to do that for somebody 8 years down the road and it's all, it's stroking out. So some of the methods that we do.
Stroking out. I get that all the time.
Right.
We're so politically correct.
Emails that one gets, you get an email and going, "Hey Kelly, my Frankenstein's monster is stroking out. I've had him for 8 years and he's stroking out. Can you restore that?" I'm like,
right.
You know exactly what he's saying.
Yeah, but you do. Yeah. And then plus the silicone gets dirty. It's hard to clean. Man. So, we use other methods from, dipping into our past, using resins, using translucents, and then using transparent paints and building it up that way. And it has a better pleasing effect on the eye. And, Kelly says, we'll use glass eyes, but then we'll get in there and really manipulate it to have a much stronger, realistic effect. And that way, when you look at it, the eyes draw you to it. So then now it's all part of the whole silhouette.
I think that whole process comes from Kelly's background in restoring older items like that. And so I think that we try to apply it to the new things that we do and try to develop other ways that are going to have more longevity to it. So that's another thing that I think we try to offer.
Usually the eyes, the window to the soul, right? But usually the eyes has to go along with the body language. You can't just have the eyes set and they're like, just looking to the left, looking to the right. Like with Harley Quinn, you can see she's looking up and she's thinking. She's thinking about
Well
who
said.
am I going to clock with this bat? That's what you get. That's the impression you get. And that's what we've created in Harley Quinn's face.
See, that's the stuff I love right there. You can't make that up,
Yeah. Yeah. So what advice would you give to people? Like, let's say someone's interested in something that's up for auction, for sale, and it's made out of like foam latex. Anything that has these materials that weren't designed to last forever. Like, do you have any advice for what they can do or what kind of questions they can ask on the front end to make sure they're not buying something that's just going to like disintegrate in 5 years?
Right. Well, I mean, if it's foam latex, like for example, let's talk about an '89 Batman costume, right? I mean, considering what was that all about back in the day? The enemy at the time to that, which back in the day they didn't even think about it. Sweat, salt gets inside this material, and there begins the process of deterioration, and then time takes over. And as time goes and it's not preserved correctly, it's going to start disintegrating. Latex rubber, foam latex rubber, all that has a shelf life for at least 20 to 25 years if it's not taken care of properly. And then it'll start to decompose, dry rot. And then it's up to the restorer to try to get some suppleness back into it, which is, there's a science in that. It's very difficult to do. But in the event someone buys something from the 70s and 80s that's made of this material, for starters, you can't put pressure on it. You gotta, you gotta think really hard on restoring it. You can preserve it and get it encased in some UV protected case. And that's basically it. That's all you can do. Because if you start down the road of restoring, then you're manipulating the piece. And you're turning into something that it would, an echo what it used to be than what it's not. Because when something disintegrates throughout time, that's historical. That has its place in where it was, where it is, and where it's going. And you need to respect that with the piece. I've seen artists that go all out and restore this thing, and it's like the history's gone.
Yeah, it's kind of a new thing, right?
Yeah, you made it as something other than what it was. Well, in today's day and age with technology, considering where we are now and 5 to 10 years from now, what's going to be, it's wonderful to take these artifacts and scan them and get them on the computer. And then you can manipulate them on the computer, then print out a replica of what it was supposed to be and have it next to the original prop. So you have the prop that has shrank, discolored, it's crummy, it has crumbs. You seal it, you got it to where it needs to be, but there's not much manipulation on it. And then the replica next to it, what we're supposed to look like. That I highly recommend on any prop that would be out there as of today. I would not go full restoration on anything.
And so if someone had like a Batman suit, is it helping to preserve it by having it on a mannequin? Because that's sort of what it was.
Yeah, you do need structure.
Like.
Yeah, you need structure. With Michael Keaton, his chest plate that was all rubber, that urethane rubber, the muscles urethane rubber, but all that stuff now is, you can seal in the flavor, but underneath it, it's cookie crisp because so, and it's also how you display it. I've seen people put the suit and then put a replica cape on the suit, and then the pressure from that cape is creating an issue of what is real on the front, what is real on the thighs. And then there goes in, you got more repair work. It becomes, you got to call in a restorator to come in there and fix it, get it to where it needs to be again. the longevity may last to 5 to 10 years, and then you're back to square one.
You know, Jason, it's oh, sorry, Kelly.
Yeah. So anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that when you do restoration on something, it's good to talk about the approach in so many angles, so many aspects, and give the client so many avenues to choose from. Sometimes they're like, oh, whatever, just go ahead and do it. No. This is your property. You've paid good money for this, and it's up to us to make this thing shine for you. So, we all have to come up to an understanding to respect the piece before we start the process.
Jason,
hence the historian in me talking.
I was going to say, Jason, that question's an outstanding question to ask. And that's one of the things I think for Blok4, how we want to be a part of the process and have those relationships so we can, have a discussion with the client if he's going to buy it, or, if you're having the discussion with the client saying, hey, why don't you talk to these guys, talk to Blok4, they can help you with the whole process. And now if the person gets it, they have the confidence knowing that, okay, well, now I can get my piece preserved and now it's going to be there forever. And even if they decide to down the road sell it, they'll have something stronger to sell. It's not just, crumbling and falling apart.
This leads into what I was saying before, that I encourage people that aren't even our customers at this point to give us a call and say, hey, man, I saw your video. You said, give us a call. I'm looking at this piece. Like, what do you guys think you could do with it? And even if they don't end up coming to us, I'm happy to talk to them about it because we all have a passion for this thing. And it's like, we're not going to be the company for everybody, and that's not to attack or any of that stuff. But I'm a little too honest sometimes. So I'd rather help somebody do something that's going to, maybe come back in the long run as something bigger than try to take a few dollars from somebody just because I know I can, And so I've found that already by being helpful to people, it's coming back tenfold.
I mean, Jason, I think you experienced that firsthand when you were first working with us when we were doing the discovery.
Yeah.
Rebuilding that and how we were communicating with you. But, we're like, hey, how do you want this to come together? There's certain things, and we made you a part of that process and wanted you to feel confident and comfortable with us in what we were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you guys are great communicators. Yeah. I think if people haven't had something restored before, it's a very interesting process, and there's a lot of steps and there's a lot of decisions to be made, and also things, as you guys know, that you don't anticipate. That it's like, oh, well, this sort of changes what plan A was. Let's talk about plan B, C, D, E,
Yep.
Here's the menu of what we can do.
Just to what Kelly said, we're dealing with a situation where one of our clients has one of the last remaining complete stormtroopers from the New Hope. And it's yellowing, and we're trying to figure out, okay, do we attack the yellowing? Do we change that? In Kelly's mind, that's an artifact. You don't want to touch that, but right. In the customer's mind, he doesn't want to look at a yellow suit that he paid that kind of money for. So, it's a conversation. And when we do ultimately have the final conversation, we'll make sure that we tell him all of that we feel like you should leave it, or, we think that the yellow is part of it. But if you don't want to look at it, maybe we can come up with a solution that doesn't affect the actual original, and in Kelly's, in my ideal world, let's make them a second one. But, if they don't want to spend the money on that, how do we do and make both of those things happen? Don't really touch it. And we have some ideas, but, and that's the thing, we're willing. And again, this is where Roger comes in. We're willing to do research, right? So, yeah. Hey, is there a way to get that yellow off with chemicals? Is there a way to get it off without using chemicals? Is there a way that we can do something to it where it absolutely will not affect it? Or do we try to convince him we need to make a second one? So, and all of it's on the table, which I love. And we can do all of it. So,
yeah. And I know one of the other things people wouldn't know without working with you is that you do have amazing resources. Like one of the projects we worked on was missing a component and you guys are like, oh, we know someone who has the original, we could, make a copy of it. We'll make it clear that it's a replica replacement, but it's basically like, you don't have to create something from scratch. You're using original source, original parts and material.
Yes, we're lucky that there's the world like that. And it's funny because we all have, different kinds of people and people that we know. I mean, there's a lot of people we all know together, but, like, I always say this about Heath, and then Kelly, once I met him, but gosh darn it, Heath knows everybody and everybody knows Heath. I mean, everybody, I'm like, they're like, oh, yeah, I know Heath. And so it's just, it's crazy. And same with Kelly. Like, I know Kelly. I met a friend of ours at Monsterpalooza. I met a friend I went to junior high with, talking to him. His dad happens to be a client of Kelly's. And I'm telling him and his dad what we're doing. And his dad's like, yeah, I work with the guy that does that, and it was Kelly. And so it's a small world, and it's wonderful. Actually, I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I appreciate your guys' time. Do you want to maybe give some closing thoughts on this, what you guys do, how people can reach out and get in touch with you?
Yeah. I mean, first of all, thank you, Jason. We're grateful to be here. And you've been a key part. Without, your confidence in us, I don't think that we'd have confidence to keep moving forward. So thank you for that. But yeah, reach out to on our website, blok4.com. We're on Instagram. We're on all, Facebook, social media. We try to go to as many of the conventions as we can hit up. So you can visit us there. But there's also a guy we've been working with named Dan Monroe. He's got a YouTube channel. You guys should check him out too. But yeah, I mean, reach out to us. We're always here. We've got our cell phones on. We're checking the email constantly, and get a hold of us for anything.
Cool.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
Parting comments.
When you asked me how did I get into this, you only tapped on my childhood. You didn't tap on my adulthood, because there's a hurricane called Katrina that blew my rear end over here to get in this profession.
Wow.
That's how I got over here.
Didn't know that.
I'm going to Hollywood and make it big. Nope.
I'm going big time.
This is not. And if you would have asked me 30 years later where I am today, I'd be like, you're full of it. You're full of it. I would never think I'd be doing this as a profession, ever. This is not really my background. My background's theater and parade float making. That's my and mural painting. That's it. That's my background.
Not
so
anymore.
All that I brought and dumped into this.
Yeah,
and here we are.
I would say definitely, Jason, thank you. Thank you for all your support and what you've done to help us grow as a company and grow as a team. And then actually you becoming part of that team. We look at you in that same manner. And we're, for myself, I'm deeply, deeply appreciative.
Very grateful.
Yeah, yes. We all are, Jason. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Roger, you're the talkative one. Roger, what do you got to say?
Yeah, Roger.
You know me, not a lot. Let's just keep getting better, like I said.
Yeah.
Jason, we all thank you, including the trash monster.
Yes, that's a story for another day.
Good times.
Good talking to you. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
Later, man.